Okay, hello folks. So now we are recording my video on Golang programming in VS Code text editor. And okay, what do I talk about? Okay, so I am writing this article on how you can use VS Code's feature to do Golang programming. And this video is to show a demo of it, a live demo. So I've already written the text content of it. Initially I thought I'll just do the video, but I thought the text content is important too. So I first wrote the text content. Now this will be my script for the video. So yeah, that's convenient. Let's start. So most of the time I'll be using IntelliJ in my company projects for Golang programming. But recently, so I started checking out VS Code for my open source contributions. So, while checking it out, I realized that VS Code has come a long way in the feature set that it provides. So previously it looked pretty immature. I couldn't do some simple things like rename, and my colleagues used to say how IntelliJ's rename is good enough. And then recently I started using a lot of features in VS Code that I felt are really good, along with rename. And I'll get to the features soon. So I believe that most of the praise for VS Code's Golang programming experience is because of their Golang extension. And I believe that it is powered by Go Please. It's the language server for Golang, and there's a web page for it in GitHub. So this is the documentation, and they tell you how to use it in VS Code and in other places like Atom, Emacs, or Sublime Text. So in VS Code, I put this configuration along with many others, and that's helping me use Go Please in my VS Code. So and I have been using VS Code for Golang repos which don't have vendoring and who use Go modules. So it's pretty good enough if you're using Go modules, which is like the latest and greatest. But if you're using vendoring, I noticed some issue. Vendoring. So this is the issue that I found out. Error when using vendoring with 1.14 with Go Please. So this issue is still open. Maybe if this gets over, I might be able to use it in my client projects, that's company projects too, which have vendoring along with Go modules. So yeah, that was it. So all the features that I'm talking about is already there in IntelliJ and has come up in VS Code 2 now. A lot of them have come up in VS Code, not all of them though. And so the whole idea of this video is to show how cool VS Code is. IntelliJ is cool too, yeah. But yeah, I like VS Code probably because it's completely open source, yeah. Not probably, yeah. I'm sure it's because it's completely open source. So I'm not going to show too much of IntelliJ stuff. It'll be completely about VS Code, but very few IntelliJ stuff at the end. So yep, and I'm using a Mac, so all the shortcuts that I talk about or mention will be related to Mac, which is if you're using Windows, it'll be Windows Control instead of command for me in macOS. So yeah, I don't know how the macOS control works in Windows, but yeah, Mac has both control and command. In Windows there is control and the Windows button, but I don't know how it works. So yeah, I'm not doing much of Windows now. So yeah, that was all in Collins. Yep. So if someone has those shortcuts, please do put it here, or you can find it yourself. Yeah, it should be there in VS Code documentation. So yeah, getting on with the whole thing. So this is still in my local. This whole blog post. The video has to come here, the recording. So the text form is here now. So the first feature that we're going to see in VS Code is find all the usages for a variable or function. So usually when you're checking out code, so in like for example, I've taken up a real-time thing. I mean a real code base. This code base is GitHub flag source config area. So this is the code base that we're going to see. It's a small tool and it helps you do some configuration, and it's written in Golang. So recently I was contributing to this. It's a pretty big code base, uh, and well, I was contributing to this, so I wanted to use VS Code and see how it all goes. So with this code base as an example, I'm going to show all the features, starting with find all the usages for a variable or function. So when you read code, which you would do a lot, especially when it comes to company contributions or open source contributions, because uh, like especially when you're not starting from scratch and someone has already written lots of code, you just have to start from the middle and go on contributing. So for which we'll have to read a lot of code to understand how existing code has been written, how existing functions, methods can be reused, refactored, and all that. So you'll be reading a lot of code, and you'll want to know what a code means, especially when I say code, uh, probably functions, methods, a variable, or what is uh, where are the variables used, and what is it, and the same goes for functions or methods. So let's go to an example. Let's say, so I'm in this file called types, where a lot of types have been defined, struct and all that. This is struct, and okay, let me fold. I didn't put that feature in my blog post. Fold all. So this will keep your whole thing clean. Now you can just see some top level stuff. You don't want to read too much code immediately. There are like 280 lines in this file. I don't want to read them at once. So on the top, so this is a types.go file, and it's in package types. You can notice the directory types, and I am importing some stuff. Okay, and there are some variables. Oh, there's just one, and there is a port struct, and there's a container struct, name, user struct, file struct, and so on. There are some more structs below. There are some methods on the struct. So and what else? Some interface. Yeah. So now let's say I want to find out where this method is being called or being used. So I am on the definition. So and you can see, okay, there's a problem here. It shows in yellow because there is no comment on top of this method. Now to see the usage of this method, I type Command Shift P, which is the command palette, and say find usages. Oh, find. Let me see what it says. Oh, it's find all references. So command you should be on pass. So the cursor is on pass. Command Shift P, find all references. So you can see how on the left there is a panel called references. Previously, I remember seeing all these: Explorer, search, debug, and then that is debug and run, and then source control, Git stuff, and all that. And then this is extensions. So now there is this references. Oh, and by the way, there is also settings where you can go and check if you have the latest and greatest version for VS Code. I have the latest. If you don't have the latest, do get the latest to get all the bug fixes. Always have the latest, yeah. So now you can see how pass appears in this panel for references, and I can see all the places where pass has been referred. So there is a cri.go in this directory package pkg/apps, and then a lot of them, right? So let's just go to one of them, and I'll clear it all, and do command V. So now I am not in the definition of pass, but I am on the, in the place where there is a function invocation. So my cursor is on a function call or function invocation and not on the function definition. So this is a usage of pass and not the definition of pass. So if you notice, I'm mentioning, you can find all usages. I am on one of the usages. Now again over here, if I say command shift P, find all references. So from a, from the invocation statement also, you can get all the references. You don't have to be on the definition. You can be anywhere and you can get all the references. Anywhere on the reference of a function or a method. So this was a method. Let's take a function. So safe read is a function. Let's see where all it's been referred. Okay, that's a lot of places. So you can see how safe read has been referred within this package. Oh, it's in utils, I guess. Oh, utils has been imported together completely. So here you can see how utils.safe_read is here, and you can also see the safe read function definition over here, func safe read, and the usages over here. So you are on a usage, and you can find the other usages, and you can click and go around. And let me close this and again show you one more thing. So I showed you that on the left panel in references, you can see the references, all the usages. What if you just don't want to, see it on the left, you want to just peek immediately? So there's an option to peek. So here is a safe read function call. If I just do command shift P and say peek references, you can see how I'm peeking into the thing, and I'm in redhat.go, and I'm on the safe read function. There is the cursor is on safe read function, the function invocation especially, and I can see that I'm on that same red hat over here. If I click this, you can see how I'm not moving anywhere. My cursor is still here. I am still here in the same line 50 over here. But in this peaked, this extra window, I can see all of the other places too from just here, from just exactly where I am. I don't have to go to another file to see what is the definition. Previously, if you remember, when I did find all references, when I clicked in some other file, I would go to the new file like debian.co, or in this case libguestfs. So I'm going to this new file. If you see on the top, sysctl, I'm going to the new file, right? So instead, let me close all this, and I can just peek over here, peek references. So I don't have to move an inch from the place I am in the file, and I can just keep looking at all the places where this file is present. And if you notice, I can just go over the whole file. This is the whole file itself, so I can just see where the whole file is, and this has been highlighted. And let me go a bit up. So I can just look at all of them, right? That's cool, right? I just don't have to move at all. I don't have to navigate so much, move my, have eye movement and suddenly just go into a rabbit hole into multiple files and be like, okay, where am I? You don't have to do that. You just can just peek and then close this, and you're done. You checked out all the implementations. Sorry, not implementation, references, and you checked out all the function calls, and now you know how to do and where to call your function appropriately, and how it has been called previously in other places. So that's one cool feature. So I showed you for methods and functions. You can do the same thing for variables too. For example, let me go to this file. Let's unfold, right? Unfold all. Okay, these have very small functions. How about I get something big? Okay. So commands is a variable over here. Okay. You can see how many times commands has been used by just seeing the highlights. That was just a editor level thing, right? So editor can also show some commas and all highlighted. How do I see at Golang level? What and all are being referred here to? What are the references to commands variable over here, right? Command Shift P, find all references, and you can see how many times it has been referred. So this commands is inside this function. So and the definition is also inside this function. So all the references would be inside this. So you can see all the references over here, and you can also peek. Okay, let's peek references. Cool, right? You can see all of it, and so this way you can check out where something has been defined, how something has been used, all of it together under the umbrella of references. And you can be on any usage or on the definition of the variable or method or function and still be able to find the usages and references. So yeah, so that was all about finding the usages. Maybe I should include method also over here. One sec. Let's just go ahead and say our method. Yep. So the next thing is implementations of an interface. So why do I want to do that? So if you have been doing Golang programming for some time, you would notice that a lot of people use interfaces, and it's a cool concept, and it's pretty smooth to use interfaces, especially when you have some use case for multiple implementations with a you know similar interface or methods, but the implementation details are a bit different. And I have used it a lot for mocking too. So in this code base, there are multiple interfaces actually. I could show you that. No? You can see how interfaces. You can see how a lot of things are interfaces in this code base. And maybe I should put a space and show you. Yeah, those are some interfaces, and those are also interfaces. So now in this case, I'm going to show you one example, which is this apply phase interface. Actually, the phase interface, which is having this apply phase method. So I'm seeing this interface okay. I understand that it has some method and it has parameters in this method and some return type. All cool. Now, how do I know if someone is using this? Is this dead code? Or can I use this? And there is no comment on this. Even if there was, like, who is using it and how are they even defining this apply phase? I want to see some kind of implementation so that I can implement. And so how do I look at it? And where has this even been called, right? So let's look at some, from the first feature that we saw, references. Let's look at some references, right? Find all references. Okay. So I am able to see only one reference. So apply phase has been called over here using this thing called phases. Command. So you can go to a definition by doing, F12 or just command click. So I'm going to do that. So this is a phase and all that. So phase is again command click, phase is the interface. So at the interface level you can only call that method. So I'm able to see only 2 references. But that's it, only 2 references. So then where is the implementation? Is anyone implementing it, or it's just simply a thing over here? And one more thing to notice, other than finding implementation, how easy it is to find an implementation. So let's say in other languages, for example Java, if you have something implementing some type, implementing an interface, it will say implements or something like that, right? Implements the interface name, right? But in Golang that's not the case. In Golang, if you want to implement an interface, you just define all the methods of the interface, and in a loosely coupled manner, Golang understands that the type implements the interface because all the methods of the interface has been implemented, even though explicitly nowhere it says that this type implements this interface. It's all loose coupling based on implementation. So, but when you assign an interface variable to when you assign to a interface variable with the value of a type that does not implement the interface, you will get a Golang error saying this type does not implement this interface. But that's all runtime. Now, how do I check the implementation of this while developing without doing any command shift F or implements phase? You cannot do that because it's not Java or something. So in VS Code, there is this feature to find out all the implementations. Find all implementations. And if you do this, magic, yeah, it shows you every single type that implements this interface, which has this one method called apply phase. So let's go to one. And let me close these. I'll show you one more cool thing. So now you can see that this is an implementation of that interface with the exact signature and all that, and you can understand now. You can read the code and understand how someone is implementing this interface and what is this whole thing doing and all that. So now let me do all references. Command shift P, all references this time, or peak references. There's no reference because it's all loosely coupled, and at the interface level we are calling things. So again I'll go to types and do peak implementation. So other than peak references, you also have peak implementation. So similar to the peak reference, similar to peak references, you can now peek into implementations. So this is one implementation. This is one implementation. Now you're peeking into another file. This is one. This is one. Let me go to something different. This is another one. So you can see how it tells the file name, the directory in which it is present, and the whole file, right? It lets you peek into the whole file. So how cool is that? You can now peek into all the implementations of an interface. So the next feature that I want to show is renaming a variable or a function or a method, right? So it's pretty very simple. It's pretty simple. So let's say, let me go to a function or something. Yeah. Remember we saw this commands variable. I want to rename this to CMDS. I want it to be small. It's not exactly readable, but it's fine. I'm going to do it. So CMDS, I pressed F2 for this, or you can just do rename symbol, and I'm going to type CMDS. Now below the text box you can see how it says enter to rename and then shift enter to preview. If I just press enter, it will go rename everything, but I'm not going to do that yet. Instead I'm going to do shift enter. So I get to preview now, and I get to see where and all this commands variable changes to CMDS. Alright, so you can see the whole list of things. You can click this to say you don't want to change this, and there is a tick button which says apply refactoring, and the shortcut for it is again shift enter. So it's like you press F2 and then type the new name and press enter to directly rename, or if you want to see the preview and see where and all the changes made, shift enter once to see the preview, shift enter again to just make the preview more like apply the preview or do the changes in the preview, that do the changes that you saw in the preview. So in this case I'm going to do shift enter. Oh, it's even showing me the diff like this. Okay, I didn't see it. I didn't know this. So clicking is showing me where and all the differences will come up. That's nice. Okay, but as you can see, the highlight is not very good. The highlight is on the wrong places. For example, it's showing, oh, I think it's right, the highlight is right. So I'm changing commands to CMDS, so it says that OMMAN will become as M. So C and DS at the C in the start and DS at the end will be the same. So that is the diff that they're showing, more like a git diff. Cool. So I'm going to close this and just do shift enter. Oops. I should be in this, yeah. Let's do shift enter. Cannot apply refactoring because has changed in the meantime. Okay, oh, I did some enter over here, right? Okay, let's do it again. F2. Okay, oh, I pressed enter, sorry. Okay, it changed everything. Now let me do command G. Cool, all the changes came back. CMDS, shift enter. Again shift enter. Cool. And command G again and CMDS, shift enter. Let me remove this and then do shift enter. Oh, doesn't work, is it? Close this. Shift enter. Okay. So now you can see that only this one didn't change because I clicked it and I unchecked it. So it didn't change. The others changed. And it's giving error because the variable is not defined. So I'll just change this to, and it's all good. So I'll do command Z, and it's all good now. So that was the rename a variable. You can also do the same for rename functions. One example would be, let's say I take up a function that is been called across places. Which one should I take? Yeah, safe read. So remember the safe read function that we use. So command click. So you can see the definition over here. You don't have to be in the definition to do the rename. Let's go to the usage. So usage is here. Let me do F2 and say safe read. Instead of safe read, I can say safe read file, because it looks like it's a reads the path and returns the text contents in it. So it's a file reading only. So I'll convert it into safe read file. F2 safe read file, and I want to see where and all change happens. So shift enter. So as you can see, I first of all had the cursor on a usage and not on the definition. So you can change from usage itself and rename the whole function and its references, which is below you can see. So safe read file, everywhere it has changed. And it has changed here, and it has changed here too. Okay, there is one issue though. The definition of safe read file has not been changed. Let's confirm that. Oh, it has been changed. Sorry, this is the definition. Func. Cool. So let's do shift enter. Okay, we have changed everything. I can show you a diff also. So enter. So there is a lot of diff. So you can see how safe read file has changed to safe read file with util start, or in one case without util start. So this one does not have a util start. So yep, and the function definition has also changed. So how cool is that? I can just do command click and see that it has changed. So I will check out those changes. Hit checkout dot. Okay. So that was renaming a function. So you can do something similar for renaming a method. Let me do that for pass, right? So I'll just call it as pass string, right? Just like that. Shift enter. You can see how the method has changed everywhere along with the function definition. And I can ignore this, cut this off, and I can also go to all the peak references and go to one of the references and escape those. So even from the reference I can do F2, pass string, shift enter, and you can see how it's trying to change everywhere, and I'm not going to change it. So that's how you do renaming for methods. So one thing to notice, if you rename a method in an interface, it does not rename all the implementations. So an example would be the verify phase interface. If you are renaming this method, let's say F2, verify func something, shift enter, you can see how only the reference of verify func has changed in one of the method calls through the interface variable, but it does not change the implementation. So your implementations will break, as in they will not then be implementing your interface. I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing. Maybe I can raise an issue in GitHub asking, should we provide an option to rename all the implementations? So yeah. The next good thing about VS Code is now it has support to extract a variable. So this feature has been a bit weird for me, a bit weird. The first weird thing about this is actually the good thing is it works. Yes, I can see that it works in most cases. Yes, in some cases I have seen it not work. I can show that due to some weird reason. I'll have to probably raise an issue in GitHub, asking about why it doesn't work in some cases. The next thing is the weird thing. The weird thing is it takes a bit some time to do this extract. So what is this feature that I'm even talking about if you have not heard of extracting a variable, right? So let's say you have this expression called sys.containers, and let's say you are using it in multiple places. In this case, you're not using it in multiple places, but let's assume that you're using this in multiple places. You don't want to use this big name. Let's say I want to rename this. I want to first of all convert this into a variable and use the variable everywhere and a short variable name. So I'm going to do this command shift P, select it, command shift P, extract to variable. So name of the variable is syscon. Okay. So it's taking some time. Okay. So syscon is now a variable, and the value of it is this expression sys.containers, and it has been used here. So that's what extracting a variable means. So you extract an expression into a variable. So you can do this in multiple places. So here also you can do package repos. So extract variable, you can say package repos reference, right? Like more like a pointer reference or something. Okay, so it's done. So that's what is extract to variable. So I'm going to command Z all these, undo, yeah. So the one place where I noticed that this did not work was, I think, or I guess it did work everywhere. I think it's the other one. Okay, sorry. So, oh no. So, okay, I did get some import errors. So, let me just meddle once in some place, probably. Yeah, probably this one. Yeah, this one didn't work, I think. So Okay, I don't know if this one work or not. Okay, let's take this one. I'm not sure about that. So this one I want to convert this expression. I want to convert it into variable. So let's say pass count like that. Oh, it works. Okay. I don't know. In some cases, I've noticed it to not work, and I was pretty sad. I was like, okay, why is it not working? Okay, so that was extracting to a variable. So you can extract an expression into a variable. So the next cool feature I have is go to definition. So anytime you're looking at any code, you'll want to know what is the definition of it, where it has been defined. And I already showed you that feature. I guess I should have put that on the top. So let's say I am looking at this code, and I noticed that there is something called sys. I don't know what is sys. I don't know what is post commands, like what is the type or what is it doing. Looks like it's an array probably because there's append. So I want to know what this is. So hovering shows me some details. It says it's a field post commands, and I guess the type is array of commands. And there is also a link over here to types.config.post commands on package.dev, right? So if I click this, wow, so it goes to the definition of I don't know, like post commands, I guess, but I can't see it. Where's the post commands? Oh, the problem is this header has been blocking it, so post commands is here. I think did it show like this, or I think it showed like this because post commands would have come on the top of the page and this header blocked it. So yeah, that's the uh, well, the definition of post commands. But how do I see it in my editor itself? So you can do Command Shift P and say go to definition. So now you are in the definition. Let me go back, and you can also do command click. And one more thing you can do is command option down. I believe these are default because I don't remember configuring any of these. So yeah, and you can also do F12. So these are all keyboard shortcuts. And let's say you want to know what sys means, so command click. So sys is the uh, what do you call this? I forgot. The method. Oh yeah, the receiver argument. Yeah, that's what they call this. So these are just function like the method arguments. This is the method, and this is a method because you can see that that's how methods look like. They define it on some type. So only a variable of this type can call it and all that. But this is the receiver argument, and you click this and you see that it's a receiver argument, and it's of type config, like pointer to config and all that. So that's go to definition, and you can also do peek over here. You can say peek definition, and you can peek into the definition without like moving around too much. The cool peek magic, right? So you can just peek, and you can see that commands means array of command. Okay, cool. Escape. That's it. You're done peeking. So that's how you peek, and you can also do a type definition. So you can go check what is the uh, types definition. So this is something new that I've noticed. So let's say you are looking at this variable, for example, files, right? What is files, and what is the definition of its type? So let's say, for example, it looks like files is a map. So, but yeah, we'll check it out soon. Let's say it is okay. I can see that it's a map. Uh, let's say I check out this post commands itself again, right? So I know that it's a array of commands now, but let's say I just don't know. I don't hover over it or something like that. I'm just on this thing like cursor, just moving my cursor and moving my cursor by using my keyboard, and my cursor is over here. I'm just not looking at it. So now I want to know post commands, what is the type of it and what is the definition of its type. If it's string, there is no really definition, but let's say if it's a struct, let's assume post commands is a struct of type struct, then what is the definition of that struct? What and all fields are there? So is what type definition helps with, go to type definition helps with. So command shift P and go to type definition. Oh, there is no type definition. Okay. Let's do the same for sys, right? Command shift P, go to type definition. Okay. So now if you notice, it goes to the config struct. It goes to the type definition of the config struct type. So let me go back and also do a peek, command shift P, peek type definition, right? So you can peek into the type definition for sys variable, and the sys variable is of type config, which is, so config is the type, and what is the definition of the type config is what we are looking at here. So I guess I've been repeating myself too much, but let's just go out of this. Escape. Okay, escape. Doesn't work. Close. Okay. So how do you confirm that it was right? So you can hover and you can see config is the type, star config. So you can see how command click. You can see how it found out the type, and it also showed you the types definition by just doing 2 hops at once. So usually you would do this, right? You have a variable, you go find the type, and then you can find the types definition. So that's a 2 hop, 1 hop, and then the second hop. So instead you can go directly to type definition in this case, if that's what you want. So that was going to type definition and peeking type definition. So the next thing is this. So we have been looking at a lot of code now. I have been navigating a lot. So one thing that helps while navigating code, that is like we are reading, you click command click, like you go to definition command click, now you are somewhere, you do command click, and then now you're somewhere. Like I don't know which file I am, like if this is a new code base, I would be like, okay, I'm in types.go. Where was I before? So how do you go back? Like you just did command click, or like go to definition again and again and again. So now you're in some rabbit hole. You are checking some type definition probably, and what some field means, and you went on to understand what and all fields it has. Finally, now you are like, where am I now? Which file was I in? You can just keep going to every other file to find out where you were, or you can use this feature called go backward. Command shift P, go backward, go back. So the shortcut is control minus. So you go back. So now you're in the container struct. So you were here, yeah, your cursor was here. You do control minus, again go back. You were here, yeah, and control minus, yeah, you were here. So this is where you started, right? Like containers, you did command click, and then you went in, you checked out the container. So this is an easy way to come out of rabbit holes. So that is one thing. And so that's how you come back. So let me do control minus more and see where also I was on this post commands, control minus, I was looking at config, again minus post commands and all that. I was looking at config struct, command control minus. So it knows the entire history of your thing. It's more like how you do go back in your browser. You just keep going back into the places, it's like checkpoints into the places where your cursor was there. So let's say from this config.go I go to libguess.fs and then to Debian. Now if I do control minus, I'll go to libguess.fs and then control minus, I'll go back to config.go. So it's a really cool feature. And if going back is a feature, why shouldn't go forward be? So why can't I just go forward, right? Like, so that's the next feature, which is going forward in the navigation. So if you have been like going backward a lot, in the out of the rabbit hole, and now you know where you are, and you want to go back to the rabbit hole that you came out of for some reason, to again check what it was and all that, you can just do Command Shift P, go forward, right? So now you can go forward. Now you are in libguess fs. So go forward. The keyboard shortcut is Control Shift minus. So I'm going to type that now. Control Shift minus. Now you're in Debian. Again Control Shift minus. Oh, you don't. You're not, I'm not going forward much actually, because I think it stopped here. So I'm going to do this. So I'm going to click on Safe Read. I'm going to navigate forward for some time. So on my own, that is Safe Read, read file. So now I'm in Golang's source code. Now os.open, open file. Okay, what is open file doing? Open file no log. Okay, what is exist not exist? Okay, what is underlying? Okay, what is underlying this? Okay, okay, what is this called? Okay, what is string? Wow, I'm inside the built-in thing. So now how do I go back? Control minus, control minus, control minus, control minus, control minus, control minus, control minus. Oh wait, now I want to go forward. Control Shift minus, 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 Control Shift minus. You came all the way forward, and you can go all the way backward. You can do Command B and go forward because you know exactly you are doing Command B, but let's say you keep your cursor here, 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 and then do Control minus. Now you go back exactly in those places. Do Control Shift minus, you'll go exactly to those places. Can you see that? So it's not just about doing Command B. Just keep your cursor here and there and move around. You still are recording those so that you can go back. So I'm just going to go back a lot backwards. So Control minus, Control minus, 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 minus. Yep, I came back a lot of places back. Now, so that was going forward and going backward. I also put some good pun where VS Code helps you go forward a lot. Okay. So the next feature that I want to talk about is toggling the test file. So if you write a lot of Golang tests, you'll love this. So let's say you do test, and let's not go to test file. Let's go to some code, right? So I am on this file called ntb.co. So this is the code that I wrote recently for this repository for a pull request. So now I want to check out the tests for this file, right? So how do you do that? So you can do Command Shift P and say toggle test file, right? Oh, I have low battery. Let's finish this off soon. Toggle test file, and you notice how you go to the file called ntp_test, and it has some tests for this. So it has tests for the package, the functions that I've written in ntb.go, and it doesn't always have to be the case that this file will have the tests for all the functions in here. It will be there only if you have written it, of course. And it's also possible that the functions here are being tested somewhere else also. So for example, let's say types.go, here there is not much code. If I do toggle test function test file, you can see how it says there is no file, unable to open the file, unable to read. You can create the file if you want though. The file is called types_test.go. So I don't know the internals of how this works. I'm assuming probably they put the name of the file _test and then .go. So either that or they're doing some checks and all that, checking things. So so this toggle test file doesn't mean that you can find all the tests for that file or that function or the functions in that file or methods in exactly in the file that you have toggled to. So it's just some good tooling to toggle to the test file, and probably the best place to write your tests for the functions that are defined in the other file. So I think if you toggle from the test file itself, you'll go back to the main code, and then again do toggle test file, you'll go back to the test code. So yeah, so that's how you toggle, and you can also create new files if they don't exist, the test files. So the next cool thing is running all the tests in a test file, right? So let's say you have this file and you want this test file and you want to run all the tests in this. So you can do Command Shift P, and you can say test the file, go test the file. So this is one thing. So it shows how there is one test function that is to be run. Maybe I can show some more. File tests. Okay. So let's see. So this one has test copy, one test function, two test functions, three test functions. Let's just do Command Shift P, test the file. You can see how this command is being run. You can run this command in your local also, in your terminal, and run the same set of things that this is running, which is three test functions. So you just copy this and do the same thing that the tool is doing, which is VS Code is doing, VS Code extension, everything. So you can run your tests in this file like this, or just do test file and it will do it. And so these are three test functions in this test file. Let's say you just want to run one test function, you can just do run test, which is a button on top of every test function. And there's also a debug test. You can also debug your tests by putting breakpoints. So I just ran one test. Okay, we are on 4%. I can't pause the video, so I'm just going to go ahead and just finish it off soon. So I told you how to run one test, a test function. So there is also a way to show code coverage. So you have written your tests and everything, but how much of your code has been covered? How do you know that? So Command Shift P, toggle test. Let's just do toggle code coverage. So that's how you check your code coverage. Command Shift P and then toggle test coverage in current package. So in your current package, how much of the code is tested? Cool. So now you can see how there are some green lines and some red lines. So the green lines mean that the code has been tested, that code has been tested, and the red means it has not been. And you can also toggle this off. You can again say toggle test coverage and it will go away. So and also do comment on what you think about how much tests is too much tests, right? And so now we have seen all the features in, like, not all, sorry, maybe I should convert this, all the features that I use. It's not an exhaustive feature list. Okay, yeah, we've seen all the features that VS Code provides, that I use, that VS Code provides. So there are some features that I couldn't make it work. For example, extract to function. So we like IntelliJ has this feature. Let me show it to you once. Let's go to verify our types.go. So I have to do some setup. Okay, it's gonna take some time, and with my 3%, I don't know how it's gonna work. Oh, it's 1%. Okay, let me do one thing. I will go get my charger in a minute. Okay, so we are back on, and my laptop is charging. So actually, the reason why I can't pause my video recording is because my tool doesn't support. Okay, we are back. Okay, charging. Yeah. So my tool, which is Cap, does not support pause yet, but it's still a super cool tool. You should try it out. Okay, so or else I would have paused and then got my charger instead of increasing the time of the video, but it's fine. Okay, so the function that I see in IntelliJ, but not exactly working out in VS Code, even though VS Code has the option, is called extract to function. So let me show an example for this. So let's say this is uh, so let's say I want to convert this into a function. I don't want this statement to be inside this function but in a separate function, right? So I can do this command option M, and it says method with seek receiver. It can be a method or a function. So I'll just do, so it can do both. IntelliJ can do extract to a function or extract to a method. So let's try function first, right? You can give name. I'll give the name as get the name, right? It's a name, so get the name. So how cool is that? So you give the name to this function, and it does the operation, and it also returns it. So sometimes it works in weird ways. Like I have seen it return some multiple unnecessary uh, variables. For example, returning two errors and all that, because it's not entirely intelligent to understand that you don't want two errors but just one. Instead, it'll get all different kinds of errors and things like that. And if you have empty return statements and things like that, you have to be a bit careful when you do extract to function and make sure that it is what you want, and see that it's minimal. So in this case, it's a very simple example, so it's very minimal. I have actually extracted some complex set of statements, not a single statement, set of statements, and it has turned out to be a bit tough. Sometimes you can just do it manually, but yeah, it's just a good start. That's it. So that's one thing. Oh my god, my voice. Yep, better. Okay, so that's the extract to functions. Command Z, I'll do that. Okay, so the next thing is extract to method. You have seen the option for that, command option M. Let's see how that looks. So it's able to get a method also, and you can give the name to it, command Z. So that's cool. So the next feature in IntelliJ that I like and is unfortunately not yet present in VS Code is moving a function to another package. Now, so moving functions, yes. I don't know about moving methods. Like usually, methods are kept together. You have to move multiple methods if you have those. I don't know. I can't exactly think about why someone would do that. But let's say you go to the utils function, which I saw the safe read, right? Yeah, this one. So let's say the safe read thing, I want to move it to another package. Let's create a new package, right? So package called dummy, and a file called dummy.go, right? Just like that. So I will not add this. So now let's say I want to move the utils package function to dummy. So what would I expect, right, if I want to do this using my tool, which is IntelliJ, or any other tool like VS Code? This function definition should move there, and all the references to this function, internal to utils or external to utils, because it can be externally used, that is, it's a expert function, capital S, capital. So all the references to the safe read function should change to the dummy package safe read function, and the imports also have to change, and it has to be called as dummy.safe read, yeah, something of that sort. and if there's already some dummy package or from some other module imported, it will probably put dummy 2 or something like that. So let's see how this happens, right? So you can do command. I think you can do command F6. No, Shift F6. Is it? Oh, that's the rename. It's just F6. Yeah. So now it has a move window, and I see the declarations that I want to move. So it says member safe read, and it says exporter or not. I'm going to export it, yes. So now to which directory it asks. So I'm going to say package dummy. You can type du, and you can also see it auto fill by doing tab. Let's see if it did autofill. Dummy, no, it's not autofilling. Okay, I'll just write it on. Now in file, okay, now it has auto filled for me. So to directory pkg/dummy to file, and this is the package name. It knows that. So you can preview it. You can see how the packages, the files that use this function are going to be changed. So it's not exactly showing what it will get changed to, but what will be changed, what is the current usage and everything it's showing. I'm going to say do refactor. So now we can see in dummy.go, the safe read function comes along with the comment. And let's see the diff, right? There is a new directory, okay. What are the existing files saying? You can see how utils.saferead has been converted to dummy.saferead and dummy package has been imported too. So this is an awesome feature. It will be really helpful when you are doing some refactoring or some, like you want to pull out some you know like I don't know, pull out a set of functions or some set of probably methods, everything together into a new package uh, with its own responsibility and things like that. So instead of doing it manually and changing all the references for that function, you can do this very easily. So I'm going to check this out and I'm going to clean this off. So that's how you do that. So now, oh, I actually removed the IntelliJ file. So there are some function issues. One sec. Let me just reopen, right? Okay. So that was the moving a function to another package that I still haven't found out in VS Code. The feature is not present, is my thinking, but maybe I'll dig more. But currently I can't see anything of that sort. Let's see. Safe read. That's a function. If I type command shift move and say move, I don't see anything over here actually. So I believe I need to raise an issue in Golang, the Go Please language server, or in VS Code Golang extension, and check how we can go about this. One more cool thing about IntelliJ is you can run exactly one t.run function. So let's say you are someone who uses t.run functions inside this test functions. You can run exactly one t.run function. So in VS Code we saw run test and debug test at the test function level, at this level, for which IntelliJ also provides this. And IntelliJ also provides the whole package level test run, which is this run for this package, or is it the file? Okay, looks like the package. Anyways, so this one is what I'm going to do. Just run one t.run. It's okay, run. And if you notice, it has already run it. Exactly this one alone. Config is present. So I can run this one too then. And config is not present, only that one has been run. And you can also, so I didn't put shortcuts in my VS Code. You can put shortcuts there for running the whole test in a test function, at least all the t dot runs. So here, if you put your cursor inside the test function or inside t dot run, if you put it inside t dot run and then do Control Shift R, it will run only the t dot run function in that scope. If you put it outside the t dot run but inside this test function, it will do Control Shift R only that test function, but with both the t dot runs. These two. So these kind of cool stuff are also there. I don't know if it will work out the same way in VS Code, at least like one test function, or for example, file tests, right, had 3 functions. So if you keep it at the outside all the three test functions and then do Control Shift R, it will run all the 3 test functions: test copy, test lookup. So based on the scope of the cursor, it runs tests. So that's also a cool thing. And one more thing about IntelliJ is you can do changing a method or function signature, which I still haven't found out in VS Code. So I can give an example for this. So I'll show you for function signature. It works similarly for method signature. So let's say this is the function, right? So that for which I want to change the signature, which is the parameters, which is parameter name. Parameter name is like just renaming this one parameter. You can do the same in IntelliJ also. It will just be renaming all the parameter references inside the function, which is possible in VS Code, yes. So let's just try that out, right? So here, if you notice, so you can do F2 and do servers, and it's done. Command Z. So you can do that. That's very easy. Changing parameter name is pretty straightforward. You can also change the parameter type and then return types too. So and then the name of the function, again, that is like renaming function. So to do a renaming function, which can be done in VS Code too. So to change the type of the function parameters or the function return types, you can do command F6 and you can see what extra features they provide, like in this change signature, right? You can also remove parameters. You can also add parameters. So let's say I'm going to add one parameter. I'm going to call this as dummy. The name of the parameter is dummy according to the function. So internally it will be referred to as dummy. So what is the type? So let's say my type is string. So now all the references to the function create NTP config file, this config content, this function that I'm changing signature for, they will have an extra parameter, but they will not know what value to pass to it, because it's like you have to go and pass it, right? So you can provide a default value here though, and it will put comma and it will give this default value to it. You can go preview this, you can see the usages for this, and you can do a refactor. Now if you notice, you can go check out the usages by doing command option FC. So if you notice, the function calls have this extra comma along with this parameter with the default value. Let me do command Z and change this now. And again do it, command F6. This time I'm going to add dummy and string, but not put the default value, and see what happens. Oh, it takes up the default value of the type. Cool. So previously I remember it doing it like this actually, but I guess they have become more intelligent now. IntelliJ has become a bit more intelligent. Huh? Anyways, so those are the kind of things that you can do. So yeah, that's the cool part in IntelliJ that is not yet present in VS Code, but I'm hoping it will come soon. So that's all I had to talk about Golang programming in VS Code and the features missing in VS Code that we are hoping for it to come soon, and but it's already present, and please say yes. Yep. So if you have any comments on the video or on the blog posts, any feedback, it's welcome. Yep. Okay then. Bye bye.